Where do you see things standing? Even as we sit here today, where do things stand, do you think, with the voice nationally?
Well, as you said, Neil, there is definitely going to be a referendum, probably between October and December of this year. In fact, the enabling legislation was introduced into the House of Representatives last week, and the legislation has now been sent to the Senate, where I assume a number of people, including Jacinta Price, will speak against it. The Prime Minister has also announced that $9.5 million will be spent on the education of Australians with regard to the Voice project. Now, in my view, education is a misnomer. It's more like indoctrination, because I cannot possibly assume that the government will make any arguments in favor of the no case. So that is where we stand. The debate is ongoing and it will become fierce.
My suspicion is that people will smell a rat when there is only money that is allocated for a yes case and no money allocated for a no case. And from what I understand, with that money's allocated, $9.5 million, it's sort of into an ethereal type of a fund that really isn't about the yes case, but it's actually promoting the values of the yes case. So,
Yes.
so you might say there's something there that looks a little bit sinister because it's not designated yes case or no case. That might be a concerning thing when you're
Yes.
coming to a national referendum where you want people to cast a vote.
Yes, it definitely looks sinister. There have been 44 proposals to change the constitution in Australia since 1901. 8 have been successful. Now, on every occasion when there was a successful referendum, both parties supported the proposed change. And in those days, the yes case and the no cases were discussed by all the political parties. People would have received a pamphlet outlining the advantages and disadvantages of the yes or the no campaigns, and people were able to make up their minds as to which way they wanted to go. It would appear that on this occasion this is not going to happen. Indeed, I have been told, but I have not verified it, that people who make a donation to the Yes campaign will be able to claim a tax exemption, whereas those people who donate to the No campaign will not be able to have a tax discount or break. Now, this is unfair if that is indeed the case. It is unfair, and on that basis alone, people, in my opinion, should oppose the project.
Because they would feel as though they are not informed appropriately by the incumbent government around an issue of such national significance that there's only funding for one side.
Yes.
When there is only funding for one side, when you smell a rat and you respect the fact that, if there's funding for one side, then that politicises the whole issue, doesn't it? Because the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people of Australia are politicised if there's not equal funding. So, and perhaps, some will say, well, isn't that, this is what's been promised by the Labor government. You might assume that the Labor government will fund its own side, but not the other side. But what about this thought about politicising what is happening here, or the politicised outcomes of constitutional change?
Yes, at the moment there are about 300 quangos, Aboriginal quangos, that is bureaucracies, the members of which help Aboriginals in this particular country. And my view is that people who are disadvantaged definitely must be assisted by government. But the point is that in Australia there are so many people who are disadvantaged. That includes Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people. If only one group in society is going to receive government funding and government assistance, then the process is definitely politicized. My view is that everyone in this country, regardless of race, should be assisted by the government, and it should not be the case that only people who belong to a certain race will receive preferential treatment. You see, Neil, the problem is, that if the voice were to be successful, then burdens and benefits will be distributed on the grounds of a person's race, which is a characteristic over which people have absolutely no control. It should be irrelevant in our society. We should really establish a colorblind society where all people are treated equally. There must be political equality in this country. It is the only way in which it is possible to unify all different races that live in this country.